Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. My name's Josh. Cultivate Your Best Self is about seeking a deeper knowledge of yourself, who you aspire to become, and how and why you value time and money. Today we're going to be talking about cultivating the life that you want. I apologize for being a little bit late. I was helping my wife get my son ready because she was going to take him out for a walk. I think they're going to go hang out by the pool for a little bit while I do my live stream. My dog here is going a little bit crazy. She wanted to go out because we've been gone most of the day. We kind of took the day for ourselves. Left my son with my mom, and she watched over him. Let me double check just to make sure the chat is okay. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Is it good? Wait, what does this mean? Oh, I think I did something incorrect here. Give me just a second, guys. What did I do here? It's frozen for some reason. Oh boy. Let me try closing it, and then can I... Okay, use the docs menu. Okay, it's back up. Technical difficulties. Anyway, I'm excited to talk about today's topic, which is cultivating the life that you want. I came across this article that talked about a book that was written by two co-authors, and I'll get into the presentation in just a bit. But I really liked the things that they were talking about, and I think a lot of the topics that they cover, a lot of the principles that they cover, are really great for sparking conversation. And so I wanted to talk about some of the things that they say will get you to the life that you want within a year. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let me change my background. Let's see, I want to do this and change my... There we go. I know you can't see me, but that's okay, because I'm going to turn this off. There we go. Hopefully I got everything correct here. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. So the co-authors are Wendy Leschgold. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but Wendy Leschgold and Lisa McCarthy. They're the co-authors of a book called Fast Forward: 5 Power Principles to Create the Life You Want in Just 1 Year. I think that's pretty ambitious, to really cultivate a life that you really want within a year is not impossible. It's a challenge, but I don't know. Like for me, I would give myself a timeline more of 5 years, but I may be working a little bit slower towards my goals than some other people might have more motivation to work a lot quicker towards getting themselves to their goals. But I generally find that it takes a lot longer for people, especially kind of like your average person working a 9 to 5, has a family. It's tough, especially with a lot of the responsibilities that you have in life to really propel yourself forward enough. And obviously, like within a year, you can make significant improvements in cultivating a life that is more that is healthier, both physically and mentally, that helps you cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships in your life. And also, like within a year, you could, if you, really got down to it, you could save or invest a significant amount of money depending on, how seriously you tackle your financial goals. And each one of those areas, those prime 3 areas, your health, your wealth, and your relationships, it's very easy to make significant headway in achieving what you want for each one of those within a year. So let me get back into this. It's a little bit of a tangent. Actually, I'm going to grab a glass of water just really quickly. It's like right here. I'll be right back. I'm still here. You can probably still hear me talking. Actually, I should get the mic a little closer. Oh, shoot. Mic just fell off. There we go. All right, got my water here. Hopefully that gave you a chance to, grab a drink, grab a snack, and yeah, just join in on the conversation whenever you feel ready to. So Wendy Leschgold is the co-founder of Fast Forward Group, a training and executive coaching company. Previously, she spent more than a decade in advertising, leading teams at Ogilvy and Mather, BBDO, and Deutsche, where she worked with brands including Apple, Kodak, IBM, Bank of America, and Mitsubishi. She's a highly active board member of the California Environmental Voters. And then her co-author Lisa McCarthy is the CEO and co-founder of the Fast Forward Group. She's also spent 25 years at prominent media companies, Univision, Viacom, and CBS, leading sales organizations that were responsible for billions in revenue. Recognized as a people-first leader and change agent, Lisa was named a woman to watch by Advertising Age and was included in Crain's New York Business 40 Under 40. So, pretty impressive resumes here for these two power women. Let's get into the let us get into the five key insights that they give in their book, Fast Forward: 5 Power Principles to Create the Life You Want in Just 1 Year. Well, the first one is to be specific. What does that mean, to be specific? They're talking about creating a vision for what your life looks like in a year, what your future self looks like. And in order to do that, you answer multiple questions. They have a larger set of questions in the book, but some of the ones the key questions I have here is, what does success look like in your life a year from now? And I talk about these key 3 areas, health, wealth, and relationships, but it can really be like in any area that you choose. It might be hobbies, it might be spiritually, religiously, if that's your cup of tea. Could be in any one of these areas. What have you achieved personally and professionally? It gets you to think about your personal life, your professional life, and where you kind of envision yourself to be a year from now. My dog's like, why aren't we doing anything? Hey, no. She wants to play. and looking into how have you grown. No, drop it. Sorry. You're gonna see her in the background there. You get it? She's probably gonna be bugging me a little bit, just because she's pretty antsy. Let's see. Getting into self-talk. There are lies. I've spoken a little bit about this in previous live sessions, but there are lies that we often tell ourselves, and our brains tend to collect information that is biased towards proving those lies true. And I don't know, like when you kind of reflect on that, I don't know if that seems true for you, but our brains definitely convince us, not to do things, not to jump into things because they're either too hard or it's too stressful. Sorry, I'm just getting the ball away from when things get difficult or become a challenge, or we kind of perceive things as like, I don't have enough time. It's really easy for us to kind of justify within our own minds that not doing something is preferable, or like saves us energy, saves us time, rather than actually like trying to convince ourselves to do the things that we know will make us feel better, will make us happier in the future, will make us healthier, will make us wealthier, will help us build more meaningful relationships, deeper connections with people. And if we don't take the time to kind of really reflect on how we're speaking to ourselves, so that we're, more of a coach than a critic, then, we tend to focus too much on the self-limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves, and that can hold us back. It can keep you from reaching your potential. What you tell yourself isn't fact, but it can feel like it is, especially with how powerful our emotions are. Our emotions contribute to 90% of the decisions that we make, and the other 10% is logic, reasoning, rationality. So when you think about how powerful emotions are in controlling the decisions that we make, it makes it that much more important to be able to regulate our emotions, so that they don't control us in a way that's detrimental to reaching our potential. Remember that you have control over your mindset, your emotions, and your behaviors. And while it can be difficult to exercise that control, there's if you go back to some of my past live streams, even I think I even have a YouTube video on each one of these different areas. But there's ways that you can cultivate more control over your mindsets, over your emotions, and over the actions that you take towards achieving your goals. Try looking at stressful situations from a different perspective, and what they kind of talk about on this. I'm just pulling up my notes here. Let me read this quick excerpt from the article that I pulled this from. But it says, one of our clients, Andy, went home most nights fuming about his colleague Maria. Worse, he complained about her to his team, creating a toxic environment. The story he told us was so disempowering. Maria is egotistical and difficult. She never listens and refuses to collaborate. We can't work together. So this team, they said, we helped Andy take 3 critical steps. First, he acknowledged the cost of his story. Every negative story comes with a cost. His was creating toxicity, stress, and repercussions in his career. Second, we had him list the objective, undeniable facts of the situation. No opinions allowed. He and Maria had worked together for 5 years, both rising into their leadership positions, and they now reported to the same person. Their departments worked closely together. Third, they brainstormed new, more empowering perspectives that Andy could take on instead. Like, I can learn from Maria. She has experience that I don't. And that perspective, the perspective that he finally chose was, Maria is essential to my success, and we have the same goals in mind. With that new lens on the relationship, Andy asked, if that's true, what could I do differently? And the first thing he did was he invited her to attend his monthly team meeting to learn about her and her team's projects. And then he invited her to lunch to share aspects of his vision. And, step by step, he used his perspective shift and his thinking and behavior. And this whole shift created opportunities for, Maria to show up differently. And, within 3 months, their relationship had looked entirely different. Andy was much happier. Maria was much happier, and his team, both of their teams, were much more successful. And so, there's a lot of times, a lot of uncomfortable situations where you may be looking at something from just one perspective, but if you approach it with kind of an open mind, putting yourself in their shoes and trying to understand, what are their motivations, how can they benefit, if we were to be work more closely as a team, especially when you're in the same company. But just trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes and get different perspectives, try and step outside yourself and view that dynamic between you and someone that might be causing some stress for you, looking at it from the situation from the outside, and trying to really understand like what steps can I take or what can I do differently to improve the circumstances. And I feel like a lot of the times there are things that you can do that will improve those situations, but there are those rare exceptions where like nothing you do will change, um, but in those situations, like, um, I honestly like I'm not sure what you do in those situations. It's just either you put up with it or you look to work somewhere else. But because I like I I'm at a point where like exposing myself to an environment where I don't think I can have like a positive effect or I can change those circumstances because of how stubborn someone else is, then sometimes I'll remove myself from the situation or reduce my interactions. A good example actually is a friend of mine who works. I won't mention his name or anything, but he works somewhere where this someone above him is just kind of very antagonizing towards my friend, and especially like through email. And it all started because my friend accidentally called him the wrong name. I think he called him. Maybe I shouldn't say. I won't say the name, but he called him by the wrong name, and the guy has had it in for my friend ever since. And he came to me and another friend for advice, and we told him, you know what, like just don't entertain anything. No need to apologize. Just be professional. They rarely have to interact with each other, so there's no reason for you to like make situation worse or like do things to try and improve the situation, because he had already tried that when he came to us for help and it wasn't making the situation better, because you can kind of like we're only getting one side from it too, but it seems like the other person is just being very immature. He our friend shared some emails with us, and you could tell like this guy was very immature. He was unprofessional. It just didn't seem like there was any convincing or mending of the relationship that my friend could have done. And so in those situations, I think you just kind of like let bygones be bygones and just go about your day, especially if there's no reason for you to be interacting with this person, like then just leave it alone. But that was one example. But it would have been totally different if if they were like working on a project together, because the objective, you both have the same objective, like you have to make this project be successful together. And so in a situation like that, it's more prudent to find ways for you guys to work more efficiently together, to be on the same page, to learn from each other, like share ideas, have back and forth interaction. And that's where it can be really effective to put yourself in the other person's shoes and kind of see where they're coming from. And oftentimes you'll find that someone else is going through something like really serious in their own life that's affecting them at work, something on a personal level. And you just don't know. Like I'm sure you've heard the phrase like we're all going through some crap. We're all going through crap in life, and sometimes we carry that into the office or into our professional environment. And you never know what someone's going through until you either ask or just try to put yourself in their shoes and develop that emotional intelligence, that empathy, that I don't know, that teamwork, to be able to shift your perspective so that you guys can work better together. So that was self-talk. That was a lot on self-talk. Yeah, we were talking about trying to look at stressful situations from a different perspective. Okay, let's move on to the next. So I was just checking something in the settings here. Um, just start. So, a harsh reality for everyone. You have enough time and energy for the things that matter most to you. And I I've seen some really busy schedules. And with those incredibly busy schedules, I've seen people make time to make progress towards their goals. And to a point where, it's not like overwhelming, it's not like, they're not burning out. If they are burning out, it's from their normal responsibilities, but that's, a whole juggling act in and of itself. But we have enough time and energy for the things that truly do matter to us. And one of the things that I will say about this is that it's difficult to understand how much our dreams, our goals matter to us until we are put on a path that gets us closer to those goals. Or if you've previously achieved something that was like a goal that was really important to you, like unless you understand what that felt like, then it can be difficult to prioritize that feeling that your dreams, that your goals, your missions in life are important to you. And that's why I think it's so critical to really design the time in your day or in your weeks to be able to make progress towards, achieving your dreams or your goals or your missions in life. I just shared recently on X, formerly Twitter, that having worked in architecture for the past 10 plus years, one life lesson that I kind of take away and I share with people is that if you don't design it in, it's not getting built. And the same is true for designing in progress into your days or weeks towards your goals. And if you don't design it in, your dreams won't come to life. And it's very simple. You just have to kind of think about your outcome, right? Think about what the outcome is, and then think about. Actually, I think I think that's part of. Yeah, that's part of this. You need to think about the outcome. One, what is it that you're looking to achieve, and then from there you bring it all the way back to what's the very next action I can take to get me closer to that outcome, to that achieving my goal. And if you don't pick a specific day, of the week, or a specific time of the day, if you want to do it more often, like more than once a week, then it just won't get done. Your busy life, I'm sure a lot of you guys are busy, but your busy life will take over, and whatever downtime you have, you're going to take that to just kind of take a breath and relax for yourself, which, it's important to take breaks. But if you have the energy to be able to, like, let's say you got an hour break that you weren't expecting, if you didn't design the time in to make progress in that hour, then it's just not going to happen. So you have to design it in. Design it and it will get built. Create a 90-day action plan. Oh, so yeah, so kind of what I just said, you start with the outcome in mind and identify what the next obvious action is that you can take today or this week to make progress. And as long as you're making, at least weekly progress, you're going to get there. You're going to achieve that goal. It depends on what it is. There are certain things where, once a week is not enough, especially if it's like related to your health. Like if it's a health goal, exercising once a week is great, but it's not going to get you to achieve whatever particular goal you're looking for in the health realm. Especially if it's like physical, like exercising or wanting to lose a specific amount of weight. You're gonna have to do more than just once a week. But if you design it in, it's much more likely to get done than if you don't. If you just tell yourself like, oh, if the time frees up, then maybe I'll try it, or I'll try and get to it. But if you specifically, pick a time of the day and day of the week, you're much more likely to take action on it than if you were to just, kind of wing it, you know. Be as clear and specific about the action as you can, so you know exactly what you need to do. The clearer you are, the less confusion there is about what you need to do. You know, it's about friction. You know, if you don't clearly understand what you need to do for the very next step, then that friction is like so debilitating in your head, because then it becomes stressful. You know, stressful to start. And you don't want to create stress for yourself. You want to make it as easy as possible to accomplish that very next action, so that it motivates you. You know, like you can be proud of, you know, having made progress, and it'll motivate you into the next action that you need to take, or into the next day, you know, to continue that same action and getting you closer to achieving your goals. Communicate. So this is all about, really more about asking for help, but also about being able to really listen in on people whose advice you're asking for. So one of the things that they talk about is something amazing that happens when you ask for what you want is often you get it. And you just have to have the courage to be able to ask for it. And in most people's cases, when they're first starting out towards, you know, achieving the life that they want, I think my wife's coming back. You can probably hear my my dog crying. I'm assuming she's coming back. What was I just talking about? Shoot, I lost my train of thought. oh yeah. So when you're in those first steps, you know, those first steps of trying to achieve your goal, one of the things that a lot of us could use, some of the steps that you could use to take to get you more clarity, you know, on how to start, is asking for help. Asking for help is one of the hardest things, and I don't know why this is. You know, it's sometimes difficult, you know, even for myself, but I know a lot of people that I've talked to over the years have trouble asking for help. And what I've found is some of the most successful people that I know have less worry about looking dumb and prioritize asking for help. I was right, my wife is back. I think Luna must have seen you because she started like whimpering. Say hi, say hi. Just hanging out. I know, so much drool. Yeah, so some of the most successful people that I've seen are really great about asking for help. And when they do that, they gain so much more insight and clarity on, you know, what they're trying to learn, you know, what, you know, towards progressing them to, you know, reaching their goals, compared to someone who's just trying to figure it out on their own. And I think that's something really important to kind of emphasize, is that don't be afraid to ask for help. Why don't we ask for help? Why don't we communicate in a way that's more direct? Well, it can feel risky or uncomfortable. You never know, you know. I think some of us might have a fear of, you know, rejection, or a fear of like retaliation from someone saying like, you know, go do it yourself. And I think more often than not, when you ask for help, you'll usually get it. And in those rare cases that you don't, that's okay. You know, just that either that person's having a bad day, or, you know, they may not just, you know, they may not be a good person. Like, who knows? But, you know, you move on from that person, and you move to the next person, and, you know, ask them for help, you know, ask for their advice, ask for their feedback. And that's something that, you know, when I'm going through these topics, especially like, you know, I'm posting on TikTok as well. I'm posting on X, formerly Twitter, and a lot of the things that I share there, I ask My wife, I ask some friends for feedback on what they think about what it is that I'm posting. And more often than not, the feedback that I get helps me kind of shift things around, or, uh, change in a very slight way my message so that it's more impactful, so that it resonates with more people. And, had I not done, if I don't do that, if I don't get that feedback or ask for that help, then, my growth could be slower, or, like I may not make as much progress as I'm looking to make. And all it takes is just, asking, hey, can I get your help with something? Or, hey, can I get your advice on this? One of the little nuggets of advice that Wendy and was it Marissa? Shoot, I forget. Wendy and Lisa. Wendy and Lisa. One of the things that they recommend is plan out important conversations. And one of the things that I'm currently in the process of doing is creating kind of like an outline of a conversation that I'm going to do when I start helping coach people. So I'm in the process of becoming a growth and accountability coach, and one of the things that I need to do is kind of plan out how some of my initial conversations would go with how my initial conversations will go with potential clients. And that's advice that I got from a very successful coach that I attended a workshop for. And it was great advice. A lot of people tend to wing things, and I like to plan things out more. Especially coming from an architecture background, we go through a whole heck of a lot of planning before we execute on constructing a building. And so while it's different in business, like I tend to, or at least I want to try and tend to jump in kind of feet first into things, and learn as I go. I still want to get that little bit of planning in so that I'm not fully, kind of deer in the headlights type of moment. I don't want to have those moments too often. I want to be prepared, but I also want to get things going, quicker so that I learn faster and, get more feedback, get more help from people. The last thing on this list, and we might finish, I started a little bit late, but we might finish a little bit early too. And the same graphic, I keep forgetting to change I don't know why. I keep forgetting to change this graphic here of the fist rising. Get curious. So learn to listen and get curious. I think I mentioned it in the communication about listening, but I want to talk a little bit or what they say about how we typically listen to people. And what they say is that when we're having a conversation with someone, or that they're sharing their ideas with us, we tend to listen in order to respond, and we tend to think about how to respond in a way that makes us look smart or makes us right. And when you approach communication this way, it's much less effective at building deeper, more meaningful relationships. Oh, sorry. I think he's hungry. It's much more difficult to build deeper, more meaningful relationships that way than if you were to listen in a way that allows you to engage more in what they're saying, to show genuine interest in what they're saying. And the way that you do that is, one, you remove distractions, like silence your phone. You don't want to be in the middle of a conversation with someone and then, pull up your phone. Oh, I got a text message. That's kind of disrespectful. You want to take if you're more introverted, taking a calm, deep breath before you engage in a conversation with someone can really help you calm the nerves. and really get you geared for listening to understand where they're coming from. Try not to interrupt people mid sentence or mid idea. Allow them to give a allow them to give a pause in order for you to kind of jump in with your idea or with your like follow up question. And I think they give some really great advice here is to ask open ended questions like, how did you feel, or how did that feel? What did you do next? Questions like this really show that you're interested in their experience or their idea, or them sharing their thoughts with you, and that really kind of sets you up to show you as someone that they can build a deeper, more meaningful relationship with on their end, and that's really critical for building those connections. Let me take a look at my notes really quick to see if there's anything that I missed in everything that I was talking about. But I think that that pretty much covers it. Full disclosure, I have not read the book that this is from. I've only read the article that I came across that talked about these main points, and a lot of these main points I really agreed with, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And so let me look at my notes. My notes are much more detailed. I have the kind of like the main bullet points in the presentation to talk on the live stream, but just going over my notes really quickly. Oh, this is a really good one. So going back to let me go back to here. Be specific about creating the vision of what your life looks like a year from now. Don't worry too much about how ambitious you create that life that you want. They say, don't let limiting beliefs about what's possible hold you back. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of the top achievers, or like the people that have like wild success, and even people who have like kind of mid-level success, they tend to create these visions, these visions of a future version of themselves or of their circumstances that other people in their own life like would laugh at them and tell them, that's stupid. Like, there's no way you could possibly accomplish that. And by doing that, a lot of the times it drives them, it pushes them, it motivates them to push even harder. And while I will say that that's kind of a form of extrinsic motivation, it's an outside force kind of motivating you to push through. I more often than not, I see the more successful people creating these visions for themselves that seem kind of crazy to achieve, but it really drives them. It really drives them forward in pushing past their limits, and that's what I would encourage for you guys is create a vision for yourself that is what you want, but don't be afraid of like. Don't tell yourself, I want to be realistic. I want to get a 2% raise. Like what do you really want? What does your ideal life look like? How are you? How is your wealth? How is your health? How are your relationships? And write it down. Just be specific. Be ambitious, as ambitious as you want. Don't let what you think you can achieve be the thing that you write down. Be like if you were the most possibly successful that you could be, like write that down. And even though you may not get to it, even though you may not get to it, you know exactly what you want, and you can continue working past that year towards achieving it. And you'll get there much quicker. It may take more than a year, but you'll get there much quicker than you would if you had never really taken the time to envision what that life is like, what you're like in the future. So yeah, that I wanted to add to that. So don't let limiting beliefs about what's possible hold you back. Let's see. They talk about sharing your vision with people, but I kind of go back and forth on this because on one side, right? On one side, you have friends or potential family that will laugh at you. They'll laugh at your dreams. They'll laugh at what you want to achieve in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. And I definitely, I've had that. I've had, I've shared before, what I want to achieve in the next 5 years, and people tell me that's impossible. You can't do it. And at first, I shared it because I wanted to share what I've seen is possible, right? I've seen people achieve much more than what I'm looking to achieve, but what I'm looking to achieve would be fulfilling to me. And to others, they have their limiting beliefs, right? And they're trying to kind of impose their limiting beliefs on me. But that's that's out of my control. Like, what they think is out of my control. I have my vision for where I want to be in 5 years, and part of achieving that vision is doing things like this live stream, continuing to post on TikTok, continuing to post on X, is starting up a business where I am a growth and accountability coach. There are things that I know I can do that will help get me closer to my vision. And even if I don't get there in 5 years, I know I'll get there eventually, because I know what's possible, and I believe in myself. And that's really kind of like wherein lies the greatest success, is belief in yourself. And as long as you continue to do the things that are meaningful to you, that align with your values, that help you get closer to your vision, there's really nothing that can stop you. There is no, I saw this quote, I forget who said it, but there is no timeline on achieving your dreams. There is no timeline. You just do what you enjoy doing, what's meaningful to you, continue doing it, and your dreams will catch up eventually. That's what I believe. But yeah. How did I get into that? I don't remember. Oh yeah, so okay, I remember what got me into this. So there's two sides to this coin about whether or not you share your ambitious visions with other people. So I was talking about when you do share it, sometimes people will laugh at you, but that's okay. They're gonna have their own set of beliefs about what you can do, but it bears no weight on what you can actually do. So yeah, sharing your vision with someone can be a double-edged sword. Then there's this other side of the spectrum. I was taking a course from Masterclass. Was it Masterclass? I believe it's Masterclass. Yeah, there's some good stuff on Masterclass. It's most of the time, the things that people share on there is pretty general, but there was a piece of advice that what's her name? She's the CEO. No, she's not the CEO. Oh, she's the founder. She's the founder of a brand called Spanx, and she has a course on entrepreneurship on Masterclass. And her name is Sarah Blakely, and she shared her advice about kind of sharing what your vision is, and it's basically to keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself until you get to a point where where it's like where you've achieved a level of success to where you share your idea with people, and then they go, "Oh, that's not possible," and then you can kind of return back with saying like, well, "I've already done it," and then they'll be speechless, you know. Um, I'm kind of rephrasing what she said, but basically like kind of keep it to yourself and work on it, in the background. If you're doing working a 9 to 5, and you're spending your evenings or early mornings and weekends working towards building something on the side. Um, don't share what you're doing with others until you get to a point where like you feel confident that this is going to be successful, and that's important because she talks about how, uh, and I've talked about this before, where people will try and talk you out of doing the thing that seems risky, or they're people will instill try to instill their limiting beliefs on you, and many times that with certain types of people that may completely like work. It may talk them out of uh, continuing to pursue their dreams, to pursue their goals, and you don't want that. You want to be able to kind of like, yeah, I'll leave it up to you guys. Like, if you think it's something worth sharing or you're excited about sharing it, go ahead and share it, but don't let other people talk you out of pursuing what it is you want to pursue. I'll leave it at that. Okay, let's go back to the notes. Looking over them. Let's see, just start. I have highlights and kind of bolded passages in my notes, so I think I covered it all. Yep, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Did I talk about the yeah, I think I did talk about the open-ended questions that you can ask people when you're in a conversation with them, to kind of give them the feeling that you're genuinely interested in what they're talking about, which was questions like, how did you feel, or what did you feel when you went through whatever they're going through, what did you do next. um, Actually, I want to look up. I'm gonna look up really quickly other open-ended questions you can ask people. Oh, what was the best part? What did you do next? Yeah. What was your favorite thing? That's kind of the same thing. Let's see. Suzanne says, "Keep following your dreams. I believe you will get there. You are determined. Greatest of luck." Thank you. Let's see. What are some good examples of open-ended questions I can ask to prevent awkward silence? This is a Reddit post. Um, why did you start? Is a good one. If someone's talking about something that they've been doing for a while, you can ask them like, what was the motivation behind starting something. That's good. I'm not really seeing anything too too good. But yeah, I think that's that just about covers it. And let me go back to the notes really quick. They say good listening takes discipline, self-restraint, and practice, but it's so worth it. And I think I've definitely come across people who have trouble with self-restraint, especially when it's something that they're really passionate about. Like, but in situations like that, you kind of have to let them get things off their chest. Try to exercise more restraint in them, and let them get things off their chest, and then follow up with like, why do you feel that way, or uh, like, yes. So one thing that I learned from Vin Jiang, who's a communications expert, is when you're talking about someone who's really passionate about their perspective, one way to kind of um, really push to get them to uh, see your side of things is to say yes, and like you're adding something to what they said. So, if they're talking to you and they're really like laying on like their perspective on something, and then they kind of stop and pause, and you say yes, and this and this, and you kind of give your side of things. And I've not tried it myself, so but I'm sure Vin has done this in many situations. And so advice that I would take, advice that he gives as something to try, because he's an expert in his field of communication. And yeah, I may try that in the future if it ever comes to a situation like that. But yes, and is a really great way to kind of transition into sharing your own thoughts about something. But I think that's it. The 5 power principles of getting the life that you want. Be specific about what your vision is a year from now. What does your future self look like? What does success look like in those 3 major areas of your life? That's just my suggestion. Your health, your wealth, your relationships. Watch your self-talk and make sure that your inner critic isn't taking over your inner coach. You want to try and talk to yourself as though you were a coach. Just start. Try not to think too much about about where you're going to be going. You want to know what the outcome is, but you don't want to overly focus on the outcome. You want to focus on what your next action is. And once you achieve that next action, move on to what the next action and the next action. Continue making progress. Communicating what it is that you want. Communicate being able to ask for help. Don't be afraid to communicate the things that you need in order to get you closer to your dreams. And then lastly, get curious. That was more on communication. It was like getting curious about other people's situations, trying to build deeper, more meaningful connections with people, so that you never know some position in the future where you can get advice or feedback from them. You want to be able to build and cultivate those relationships so that eventually you can get that advice. All right, I think that's it for this one. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.